it's all been going up. Now,
some of it's not going up very quickly though, I notice. I mean, we got, some of it's really rising, but a lot of it seems to have peaked. I notice a lot of it.
great. I'll get to that in a little bit. But basically, you have some of these that just plateau out, and you can't really stop that. Some of these are picking up, but then again, that's only like 15%. But then again, I mean, if you look up here, this is your best.
Yeah,
Yes, and
that's 3-junction.
Yeah, that's your multi-junction, 3-junction concentrator. So that's like what I was telling you before, your CPV, concentrated photovoltaic, that's with a concentrator, and then this is one with no concentrator. And that's a, which is going to go up 45. So this is without a concentrator, that one is with the concentrator. So
Okay.
this is with the lens, without the lens.
And then those ones that down the rising graphically, that's the organics. Isn't it?
Yes, these are the organics. They gave you about 10%.
So those are real new and according to the graph they own, but those are rising.
If you look at it, the first several of them are university ones, which are more or less just proof of concept that yes, an organic chemical can, or an organically made solar panel can put any voltage out at all.
Yeah, but later on, you know.
Yeah, you see it taking off and getting more commercial research invested. Or UCLA.
Yeah.
But I don't think that you're ever going to see organics go past 20%.
But if they can get cheap,
They're very cheap,
Yeah.
So instead of pouring out so much money to pay for your silicon-based solar cells, you know, if these are just coming from like lemon juice and like, you know, some weird mixture, you can easily just buy these for like $1 or so. And
there's your big thing with solar panel or solar photovoltaics is your cost per watt or cost per watt.
Yeah. Where's your when are you going to get to your equipment on your investment? When are you going to start making more power than you can spend on the electric bill?
So you might have the concentrator panels hitting 50% efficiency soon, but if they cost 10 times more, then
what you begin? Yeah.
exactly, yeah. So I would see that there would probably be like a better application for organic cells with like developing roads and stuff like that. You know, if you want to electrify a rural area and they don't really have access to either pay for all this stuff.
Or even the raw materials, do you ship? They have to ship in a lot of expensive chemicals, or you ship, fragile materials.
But I mean, if they can afford these, they could at least get some sort of like satellite uplink, and then they could actually have some sort of internet connectivity or something.
Yeah, you don't need a whole lot of power at the base.
Yeah.
and right now,
Those I don't know a whole lot about them. But I do know. What I was trying to explain about this is these are sort of following like Moore's law. You know, you start out, everything's sort of like down here, and then is everyone familiar with Moore's law? Where every 18 months technology doubles and price drops.
Yeah.
This is basically going the same way. So I mean, down here, the one thing that would probably be more important on this chart would be the cost of the price. But at the very beginning, you know, these type of solar cells, they would probably be like $1,000 a solar cell or something. And then these would be so expensive that no one could actually afford them. And then getting up here, you know, maybe you'd be able to start affording them. But only at this point are people actually able to afford them to actually put them on their house and stuff like that.
and you're starting to see where the price point's going to be low enough that for the smaller ones, you know, for your little stick lights that you stick in your driveway, it's becoming commercially viable.
Yeah.
And it only gets better after time. Even now you're seeing 5 or 6 years ago, the only thing you could get was little 1 LED stick lights. Now you're seeing where you can get garage lights that run on a solar panel that are of a reasonable cost compared to their regular wired counterparts.
I mean, you can go into Lowe's did not do it themselves, communicate and install, but we order your panels for you, and like if we had, we go and set them up, we do installations. So, you know, that means it's commercial. You can walk into the store, buy one, versus what he was.
Getting where we done.
Yeah. 10 years ago, you know, it had special order from a company out in California that's doing bleeding edge tests. These days, it's walking in the store, you know, place an order to show we play on the doorstep.
So this is a new technology that's just been reported about. This was a guy in Germany who basically made a sphere that he filled with a fluid like water, and that was basically his concentrator, his lens. And then I don't know where he actually put the solar cell. I think maybe the solar cell was back here. But basically, it's big concentrated photovoltaic system. And he claimed that it was able to generate lunar energy. So basically, at night, it would still be able to generate a tiny bit of energy.
If it's concentrating enough, yeah, but wow.
Yeah. So I mean, I wouldn't say that it would be enough to actually be able to run your lights.
Yeah, it needs a functional amount of energy, but it was still measurable.
But this would probably be like a trickle amount. You know, you might be able to generate a tiny amount at night, which would still be really interesting.
Now, is that using a regular monocrystalline cell, or?
That's the CPV.
I don't. If you use like a regular crystalline cell, it would probably break the cell.
Okay. Just to heat.
Yeah.
Basically, use the moon as a big mirror to catch sunlight or edge.
Yes.
It would be more efficient in the long run to just put a solar panel in space so the Earth doesn't shadow it at all.
But then, how do you beam it back to Earth?
We don't have.
It might be the really long cable.
Microwave.
Yeah, we don't have space elevators yet. We don't have the material strong enough to be
It
able
doesn't
to
break under its own.
Well, come on, burn the AC and just run a really, really long top of wire.
What?
So
That should be nice.
It's got solar cells all the way around it.
Spinning cone shapes.
So, Kyle was talking about breaking solar cells, like the concentrated solar cells by heat. Basically, if you have a big enough lens and you're trying to concentrate so much energy onto that lens, hopefully you're not going to break that cell.
You can.
Huh?
But you can.
Yeah, but you can.
They all have their roots.
The other thing with solar cells is you're holding a solder room, so if they get too hot, then they're going to melt the solder, and then it's basically going to break the circuit, and you're going to have to go back and solder all these solar cells. But what this company is proposing is actually making a conical solar cell. And I don't know why, they say it would be like a spinning solar cell. But
Air cool it, get the.
imagine that like you want to have as much surface area as possible on your solar cell so that it would divide up as much light as you're putting onto it.
You want to spear them?
Sun doesn't jack them under.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You want to ring.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, but isn't that's one cell and the panel's made out of a whole bunch of them? A second, and cover it with them. It's
Okay.
effectively fixtures.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
You can almost get better output
Spin.
if it's on that angle.
But what they were claiming was that they could actually get about 20 times more electricity than a static flat panel with the same area of photovoltaic cells.
Same here.
That's a pretty impressive claim.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
How much is that versus
That's a marketing
a,
claim.
a solar?
That is a marketing claim, yes.
You're like, what is this,
Well,
7%?
this isn't the
That's
for
20 in
solar
my head.
this is only accounting for
Static flat panel.
Yeah.
Over 20.
You stick a panel on your roof facing south and that's it.
Yeah.
But how much more efficient versus a static flat panel is a tracking panel? They use
Yeah,
it,
that's
that's
a
all.
good point. Tracking panel versus spinning cone panel, which you get more. Yeah. Yeah, it was those marketing claims.
Yeah. I mean, this is still really conceptual. They don't really have anything that's actually been put out yet, but this is what they're proposing. I don't even know if he's actually made a prototype or anything yet, but this is.
Yeah, it says the current prototype was recently third-party verified.
Yeah.
So assuming the articles, you know, where you found the article on? Was this from?
Gizmo.
Okay. There's Meg. Okay.
But, and there's one more.
New technologies. That's
Custom Motors. You guys hear about this?
Yeah.
So, how familiar is everyone with Tesla Motors?
Fairly?
Everyone?
Yeah.
Assuming you can afford to do.
Tesla Motors is also, it was a company that was started up by Elon Musk, same guy who started PayPal with, I forget the other guy's name, Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel, Elon Musk started up PayPal, they got a bunch of money, and then basically left and they started up, Elon Musk started up SpaceX, and then he also started up Tesla Motors. Now, Tesla Motors is basically a company that's gone after the concept of creating a sports car that is all electric.
So then we get your vroom vroom without, you know, using gas.
Yeah. Now, that's a pretty good thing. They had, I think about 2 models before this, they actually have like an SUV that's all electric, that actually has like a touch panel dash and everything. I thought it was really cool when I saw it. And they were starting to bring the cars down to like the regular mainstream market. But along with this new car that they're launching, I think they're calling it the Model S.
Yeah.
They're proposing a system of
Charging
solar charging stations around the U.S. that will allow you to charge for nearly free, and then perhaps you have the ability to actually, you know, just make tiny little pit stops at little gas stations.
How long will it take to charge the battery on
Oh,
the car?
that's another thing.
Kind of charge, once they be setting,
Well-
you're looking at about a quarter of the amount of time that you would if you just plug it into a wall.
I think they talked about swapping out the battery too, right?
What is it?
I think they talked about swapping out the battery and then staying active.
They could do that.
But then again, you're also running.
I've always thought that would be the ultimate way to get an efficient electric vehicle going is battery charge time is always the biggest pain in the butt and the battery maintenance. So if you set up the system to where there's a standard battery that you can drive up to a service center and just like they have to do in New Jersey, you can't fuel your own car in the state. You can't change the own battery. You pull it to the station, they drop off your one battery. If you've got a smart car, they drop off your 2 batteries. If you've got a small SUV, they drop off half a dozen. If you've got a Suburban, and then they put fresh ones in and maintain properly. They take as much time as they need to charge them.
We
Yeah.
had a car holder tax.
They already have that.
I know they were experimenting with like
Battery
regular
station, pay your protection money to
battery cells, and they have like
your cars.
holes in, and
Yeah.
what's it?
Same road maintenance.
I think so.
I heard about that a little bit. They were talking about that in the 70s where they would have lead acid batteries, they'd flush all of the acid out of it when they were depleted, and then flush fresh acid, basically. They'd charge that acid separate in a separate set of batteries and put that back in. It works short term, but the batteries don't last nearly as long because the lead on the inside of the batteries doesn't get properly recharged.
Yeah.
But as a quick charge
Yeah,
system,
how do you get it? Keep up.
interesting.
But the other good thing about this is
Try that.
before with the cars and automotives, they were always talking about the fact that even if you have like a hydrogen car or something, it wouldn't be something that would actually push back the grid. It would always be something, or even if you had an electric car, it would always be sucking off from the power plants. But with their charging stations, what they're proposing is basically basically having a system that, when it's not in use, their network of solar panels would be pushing back to the grid, so they'd actually be, I don't know what the correct term for it is, but it's like offsetting. So it would be, instead of being carbon neutral or something like that, or
Oh, positive.
carbon positive. So this would actually be beneficial instead of just being neutral.
And the long-term prospect of having electric cars tied into the grid like that, especially with like the Leaf and stuff like that, is even in the sense that they're, you know, like you've got a Nissan Leaf plugged in your garage today, or whatever electric vehicle, you have a grid tie, it can be used in peak hours to draw some power out of your car, feed that to everybody's AC during the day when the electricity is a lot more expensive to generate because they're having to run diesel centers and stuff like that to keep up with the load. Instead, they can suck, you know, say a 20% charge out of your car and help keep the grid stable and level so that the power needed to be generated can be kept more clean, because a large coal-fired plant is going to be more efficient and use less carbon per watt of power put out versus burning a bunch of diesel